Hey everybody, back here with another one of these Yankee shows. I'm a little bit late, guys, because I had a little technical difficulty, and I didn't want to put you through it. So it was before I loaded up the Facebook even. So I just fixed it first and then came over here instead of making you watch me suffer. I figured it was better to be late. All right, so while we wait for people and give people time to get here, I'm going to tell a story about something that happened today. Something I wish I could do over. Do you ever have a moment like that in your life that you wish you could have back? This is one of those. Okay, so I was writing this show, and a telemarketer called. Fake Middle Eastern accent, but I was still polite. I was busy, but I was still polite, and I don't like to be rude to anybody, really. So I was like, okay, hello. And she's like, is this Sean? And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay, you got $9,000 you can claim from the Treasury Department. And I just cut her off right there. And I was like, a liar. And I hung up on her because I was busy. And then I cursed myself the rest of the day because I'm like, I could have spent an hour with her and wasted her time so she couldn't be conning another person. Just sit there and be like, okay, let me give you that credit card number. You know what? Because I could use $9,000. So I tell you what, my credit card number is 654. Hey, you ever seen the show Lost? Man, I love that damn show. I was just binge watching that show when you called, matter of fact. And I'd love to talk about it. And she'll be all, sir, I just need your credit card number to give you this $9,000. Oh, we gonna get to that. But let me tell you about Sawyer, man. He's crazy. It's some crazy shit. And Kate on there, she's pretty. And I love Jack. And there's this black smoke. And 6452774. And this is crazy. There's polar bears on this fucking island. I could have done that for an hour with this lady. And she would have had to been dealing with me instead of conning the next person on her auto dialer. I fucked up. Missed opportunity. I'll never get that back. I'll never get it back. All right. So I think we've given people time to get here, and we can start talking about stuff now. We can go ahead and start this show. So, hello everybody, and welcome back to my mama's favorite Facebook show, the Yankey Show. This show, for those of you who may be new to it, because I'm still building an audience, is a news show with a sarcastic twist. Hold on a second. I have to drop my shameless plug onto the screen because I just realized I didn't do that. So before I get fully started, this is my plug that I wrote. And because I run completely on donations now, and that doesn't look right, something's wrong with that. But I think that's the right thing. I'm going to go back to my screen now. All right. So this show, for those of you who may be new to it, is a news show with a sarcastic twist. I'll do a monologue recapping this week's top news stories. And when it's all done, I'll close my screen. I read this part. I wrote this for you. I put a lot of work into this show, actually. So I really did put a lot of work and research into this show. Now, that being said, I am new at journalism, and this is a news comedy show. I don't have a team of writers and researchers. I did this over the last 2 days. I researched everything I'm going to tell you. If you find out something is not true, I want you to tell me about it, and I will pull this video off the internet. I don't want to be that guy. Everything I'm about to tell you about on this show is true, and hopefully some of it's funny. But it's really hard to make some of this funny because it's fucked up. All right, so afterwards we're going to talk. You guys are my guests on this show. So think about like Colbert always had a guest, and on the Daily Show they usually have a guest. So at the end, you're my guest, and you get to ask me anything. It can be about me. It can be about you. It can be something you want to promote or talk about or bring awareness to. It can be anything. It can be a news story that I didn't touch on. It can be anything you think is important that people need to know, and you just take that opportunity to bring that up, and I will try to get to everyone, and we'll sit here this show can go for an hour to 90 minutes. I'm fine with going 90 minutes. I promised Babels I'd be off in 90 minutes. So it will go no later than 10:30, but we can go till then, and we can talk about whatever you want at the end. I'm going to start my part right now, so let's start the show. President Trump can add another oopsie moment to his already failure-filled presidency because it turns out that him rushing through the approval of the Dakota Access Pipeline wasn't all that legal after all. It really comes as no surprise that our incompetent orange president was wrong again. I mean, it's painfully clear that the man has no idea what he's doing, or even where he's at most times. He's wrong so often that it's just expected at this point. The whole world laughs at this fool. He believes that he's emperor and can do as his cholesterol clogged heart pleases, but federal judges continue to prove him wrong, as another one just did. Judge James Boasberg has officially sided with the Standing Rock Sioux and declared that the Army Corps of Engineers failed to conduct an adequate environmental assessment of the pipeline when they didn't consider the impact of oil spills impacting fishing and hunting rights, as well as environmental justice in general. So another federal judge to the rescue. But this fight isn't over. This ruling only means that moving oil through the Dakota Access Pipeline has to stop for a new environmental assessment to be done, allowing a ruling as to whether the use of the pipeline can continue. If that doesn't succeed, then the pipeline will continue to pump oil. Right now, it has to stop. But if we don't help the Standing Rock Sioux in the meantime, make sure that this ruling passes and do as much as we can to raise awareness, it will pump oil again. So we have them on the ropes. It's time to fight back. That's how it works. If this was boxing, we'd be beating the shit out of them right now. So that's what we do, all right? Because we're fighters, and this is our fight now. So we got to help the Standing Rock Sioux make sure this sticks. All right, the next story I wanted to cover was sent to me by a viewer, actually, Kimberly. Kim. She prefers Kim. This is about the an updated story. I did one already, but this one's an updated story on the Grenfell Tower fire that happened recently in London. New details have emerged, which is why we need to update this story. It's now being reported that the covering placed on the outside of the Grenfell Tower, was in fact flammable and did accelerate the fire, causing a still inaccurately reported number of deaths. Latest reports of the deaths are still saying near 70 people were killed in the fire. But activists in London and citizens that live in the surrounding areas estimate the figure to actually be much higher, much higher. And I think maybe they are underreporting the figures because they know that their greed caused those deaths. And this tragedy was completely avoidable. The flammable covering that they used on these towers is banned in America. These non-flammable panels could have been used on those towers, and it would have only cost about 5,000 pounds more to do it. This is a clear case of negligence and greed causing the deaths of these people. The use of the flammable panels to save a mere 5,000 pounds, what's that, 7,500 US dollars? You know, and the fact that there was basically no fire safety in the building. The residents have been demanding something be done about the fire safety flaws in the building since 2014. And that's all documented. And 2 of the women that were demanding those things died in this fire. And I believe that these people were more than likely killed. At the bare minimum, these people didn't care if these people died. And they wanted rid of those buildings. You know, as I said before, activists around that area say that they didn't like that tenement. The surrounding area had become rich and they wanted it gone. And, you know, they could have clad this building, they wanted it clad in something to make it prettier to look at. They could have clad it in something non-flammable for about, what, $8 grand more US dollars than what they clad it in. And that place burnt up like a torch. If you watch the video knowing that those panels were flammable and that they had a non-flammable option and those people were burned alive like that, you will be disgusted. You might vomit. I wanted to. All right, our next story comes complete with a trigger warning, y'all. I have to give you a trigger warning on this one, and I'm going to take a sip of dew to get ready myself because I'm angry about it. I'm angry about it too. So prepare to get pissed off. Are you ready? My state Senate here in Missouri has created a new bill called SB 5 that they hope to pass into law. SB 5 sounds harmless, right? Well, this bill with the purposely vague name imposes several dangerous and unnecessary restrictions on abortion providers. But even worse than that, would allow landlords and property owners to discriminate against female tenants due to their reproductive decisions. What this means is if SB 5 becomes law, women could be evicted in the state of Missouri for having an abortion, for using birth control, or for just becoming pregnant while unmarried. Yeah. Our new ignorant Republican governor, Eric Greeton, says that his bill is necessary because, and I quote, radical politicians have made St. Louis an abortion sanctuary city, end quote. The bill is a direct attack on women. And if it becomes law, it could put women in Missouri at risk to lose their jobs and homes. This bill is outrageous and must be stopped. if you're in Missouri with me, please help me fight for women's rights on this issue by spreading awareness of this awful bill and what it will do to women, and join me in hounding every state official to stop this bill from becoming law. We got to make it clear to the citizens of Missouri that this bill must be stopped, and this attack on women will not stand and cannot be allowed. And I'm going to be orchestrating a protest. I haven't put it together yet, but because I decided it just now. So I'm going to get back to you on that. But I'm gonna orchestrate a protest in Missouri over this issue and bring awareness. There might be 4 or 5. I have nothing else to do. I'm unemployed now, and this is my job. I'm now a professional activist for the progressive movement, and I hope to do a good job. And if I'm not, I hope you'll take me aside in the messenger and let me know that. This is for you guys, and if I'm not making you something you want to share, I'm doing myself a disservice, because I'll never make any money at it, and I'll never be able to support my ability to hire actual writers and maybe a journalist and go places and start up a network like a TYT, but a TYT with integrity, based around me. This is my end game. That's a year, 3 years down the road, but that's how serious I am. I have it planned out that long in advance. So I'm going to move on to my next story here. We all saw this, the protest at Senator Mitch McConnell's office. In a Capitol building, a public building, these disabled people and terminally ill people and people that depend on Medicaid and people that believe that should not be taken from these people held a protest in around Mitch McConnell's office in the Capitol building in Kentucky. And they sent the stormtroopers in to remove these people and rip them out of wheelchairs. And I almost can't get through this without getting upset, because they pulled this lady out of her wheelchair. It's a pink wheelchair. She's screaming. And another old man, and he was bleeding, and they just mopped the shit up. They didn't give a fuck and go for the next guy. That's the day, if I'm a cop, that's the day I quit. And I handcuff myself to that fucking wheelchair. And I throw my fucking badge at you. There's no such thing as a good cop. All right, so we know that there was the chaos out there. It erupted on social media. And now the bill has been released. The thing that they were protesting, this new GOP healthcare bill that they were making in secret, has now been released. And let me just read you a little bit of Senator Bernie Sanders' statement on the Republican healthcare bill, which was released on Thursday, and he calls barbaric. He was on CNN and with Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper asked him to elaborate on that claim. And Bernie said, if you throw 23 million people off of health insurance, if you cut Medicaid by over $800 billion, there's no question, but that thousands of Americans will die. Sanders said, this is barbaric, frankly. This is what oligarchy is all about. And he's not wrong. And I don't care what you think about Bernie. When have you ever seen a politician get on TV and say those things and even mention an oligarchy? You need to start appreciating Mr. Sanders, even if he never runs for anything ever again in his life and retires in 2020. That man is spreading truth, and we are supposed to love truth. So let's get behind that man. He might have to be sheepdogging a little bit to spread that truth, by the way. That's how politics works. He's a politician. That's his job. Ours is the other 85% to do this road work. His job is to play their fucking dirty ass game. Now, you don't think he can play that without playing dirty, do you? That's unrealistic. Anyways, I love Bernie. I'm sorry I got excited. Now I have a story that is going to light up the share button. I promise you. And this is the one that I gave the disclaimer for at the beginning of the show. I researched this piece. But when I read it, you're going to know why it was hard to research. Everyone's names in this piece I looked into. They do have the jobs that they say they do. This woman was doing this investigation. Now, some of this is speculation, but let me just start the story. Pamela Kelsey, let me get this woman's name right, a freelance investigative reporter who has done stories about Benghazi, WikiLeaks, and even about Hillary's email server, had just taken on a new assignment to connect the dots from the fleet of cargo ships owned by the Clinton Foundation to anyone she could possibly in the federal government. Basically, her job was to set the record straight, and that job lasted 4 hours. Kelsey was found face down on the pavement in a New York City alley with a bullet in the back of her head. She was murdered execution style and robbed to make it look like random violence. Now, what did Kelsey get done in those 4 hours? The correspondent for Kelsey's publication, LOTF, and this is a hard name to say, please forgive me if I get it wrong, Anatada Fukasu, has managed to piece this much together. This is her statement. After leaving a meeting with a high-powered publisher who wishes to sorry, let me get some dew. I'm going to start that statement over. I don't want to mess it up. Okay, then. So she says this. After leaving a meeting with a high-powered publisher who wishes to remain anonymous, Mrs. Kelsey deposited the check he wrote her and gathered her small staff for a quick strategy meeting. At the meeting, according to consultant Rick Lashora, she handed out the assignments to people to begin researching, starting with a FOIA request for everything the government knows about CBDG, the parent company of the ships owned by Bill and Hillary Clinton. After the meeting, she scheduled a meeting with media relations at the FBI. She also petitioned the CIA and NSA for access to code-worded material for journalistic purposes, and put feelers out to get meetings with aides, never questions about the ships like John Podesta and Huma Abedin. Basically, she put a world of shit into motion. There were no witnesses to her death. There were no cameras. There were no evidence. There was no evidence, just like Seth Rich. And there was also, her friends and the colleagues say, no reason for her to have been even on that side of town or in that part of town. The case of the murder of Pam Kelsey is already hitting a dead end. So I just have a question, and it's just this real simple question. How many people must die strangely around the Clintons before we realize that all these strange deaths, suicides, and accidents are actually because of the Clintons, either directly or indirectly, but definitely connected to, and there needs to be an investigation into the Clinton crime family. Sorry. I'm not sorry because it's true, but I am kind of sorry because it's fucked up that went on in this country, and they need to be brought to justice. The Clinton crime family needs to be brought to justice. They're corrupt as hell. There's so much evidence, and the fact that they've never been prosecuted, quite frankly, that scares me, honestly. That much money and power. That's my part of the show. That was the Yankey Show. It's another episode of my part, and now it's time for me to interview you, my guests. So I'm about to close this screen and open my Facebook screen, and it is now your turn to talk to me. So I have 7 people with me. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Am I online? My Facebook page is frozen. Am I moving on the screen? Hey, babe. Yeah. I am? Oh, okay. I can't see your comments or anything. I'm going to try something. I'm going to close everything else that's running. All right, I think I got shut down there for a second, man. Something happened. But I'm on the phone now. I switched over to the phone. And you'll quickly discover why I usually don't use the phone, because I don't stay very still. But I'm going to give people time to get back because I got kicked off. I don't know what the hell happened. I got popped off of there. But I got it back now. I switched over to the phone, and hopefully that fixes it. So I hope the people that were here get the chance to come back, because this is the part of the show where I talk to you guys. It's your turn. So go ahead and ask me anything you want. Nothing's off limits, as I told you before. We can talk about whatever y'all want to. So go ahead and ask me some questions. I'll invite people while I'm waiting for questions. So let me see. I'm going to invite some people that I know were here back so that they get a chance, if they want to ask questions. And let me just get that done real quick, and now I'll come back. So no questions yet. Give you guys a couple minutes, and I'm going to invite a few more people here. Try to get some people in here to ask and participate in this part. This is you guys' part. This is not my part. I already did my part. So I'm going to invite some people that I like and try to get a conversation going here. See if I can do that. Alright, I did some more invites. I still only got 2 here. Babe, ask a question, any question. It can be about anything, remember? So it don't got to be about politics, something you want to know. Till I get somebody else asking a question. Because I usually go for about an hour, but I'm not getting comments here. I'm not seeing any anyway. Almost closed the video. There we go. Alright, what is the lady's name that was killed? Her name was, I closed my word program, Bamos, but I think it was Pamela Kelsey. Pamela Kelsey was killed, reporting on a story about the Clintons 4 hours after she took the story. Am I breaking up? I'm lagging bad, she says. Guys, I'm gonna sit here anyway and see if the feed improves. It's not on my end, not anymore. I've closed everything else, and then, you know, I'm not on my computer anymore even. I'm on my cell phone. So what are we talking about, Patrick? We just did a show, and it was a news show. Right now, it's the portion of the show where you guys get to ask me questions. Anything you want to talk about, quite frankly. Anything. It can be anything. This is just the audience participation part of the show, and I promised it. I got cut off right after my show. What do we usually talk about? I did news, current events. I did a story on a reporter that was just killed who was looking into the Clintons. Pamela Kelsey was her name. I just did that story. That was the last story, and then my feed crashed. I had to switch over to my phone because my computer locked up. And quite frankly, that's really odd. I got to be serious with you. I don't want to sound crazy, but that's odd. I'm not very big time. I mean, there's 2 people here, you know? Fable says my feed says it's being interrupted. I'm going to pull up Facebook and see if I can look at my feed. Did I just get into Facebook jail? Let's find out. Go to my page. My page says I'm live now. Let me see if I can play the video. I can play the video. Alright, I can play the video. I'm able to look at it, so I'm still on. Alright, I don't know. I'll stay on for a little while. I'm going to stay on until at least 9:45. Just because I promised an audience part, and if you want to talk about anything, Patrick, there's nothing's off limits. The show is usually about news and current events and politics and, you know, that kind of thing. Let me write. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do some of my plugs now. In this time, while we wait and see if people get a chance to get back. My YouTube channel. I'm trying to get my views up over on my YouTube channel, and I make a lot of videos that don't come over here. I mean, I share them here, but they don't get a lot of attention sometimes. Sometimes they'll get no likes at all. So go over to my YouTube channel. It's me on things and stuff. I will link that in the comments here. As soon as I get a chance to do it. Like I said, my computer has frozen up. I'm trying to restart it, and when it restarts, I'll be able to put that link. But check out my YouTube channel. I put a lot of work into the videos. I have a lot of other videos that aren't politics related. There's some truth videos on there, some short ones, and there's also a series on marijuana legalization. I'm working on a video that's dedicated to J. Ron Torgerson. Let me invite Jay over here so he sees this. I already invited him. Okay, I already got it. I got Jay invited already. Well, I'm working on it, a video for net neutrality, and that's his pet project. Jay loves net neutrality. Jay's all about net neutrality, and net neutrality, and we all should be. Jay is not wrong in that. We all should be, because if something happens to net neutrality, you're not going to have things like this. You already almost don't. You know, and they're crushing people like me on YouTube, which is why my channel is donation only, which is why that's how we do our fundraising, which is my next plug. I do fundraising on Patreon and PayPal for this show. This is what I do professionally now. Until I find out that's not going to work, and I'll go back to part-time and I'll take another shot at it. But I'm not going to stop doing it. These shows won't go away. If you like any of these shows, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Central, I'm still going to do them. You know, I'm looking for a job, a real job. I have to because I have child support and responsibilities. But I want to get to a point where I do this full time all the time. And then I can go out and I can do things like cover things as a journalist and an activist, and I can go on the road to things like I do with comedy, and go places that need reports done, and go to places that need people like me to make noise and put together a protest or something. That's what I want to do now. So I'm going to take my best shot at that. And that's what this is. That's what these are. I do Conspiracy Theories and Chill on Mondays at 9 p.m. Central. That one is a conspiracy theory show. It's just fun. We sit around and we talk about conspiracy theories. Wednesday nights I do at 9 p.m. Central. These are all Central times. Wednesday nights I do Yankey Rants. And what those are is I rant on a particular topic for usually about 10-15 minutes, and then we do audience participation on that one as well. Those go about an hour. All these shows go about an hour. And then on Fridays I do the Yankey Show, and that's what show this just was. So I'm going to wrap up with 2 more plugs, because Beba says my feed is just keep saying it's interrupted, and she's in the same room with me, so I can't imagine what yours looks like. It's probably unwatchable. I've apparently said something I wasn't supposed to say. Alright, so I'm going to start to wrap up. Let me do these final 2 plugs. I'm doing a candlelight vigil at the Capitol in Jefferson City, Missouri on July 10th for Seth Rich. Hi, Helen. Okay, people are starting to make it back. We might be able to do this after all. Hi, Helen. So anyways, I was doing my plug for Seth Rich vigil. I'm not the only one doing one. They're nationwide. They're being put together nationwide, and we want them everywhere. If you don't have one near you, get with me and I'll tell you how to get one. I'll tell you how to set one up. I'll tell you what you need to do. I'll put you with the right people. There's some people from, it's no particular, I'm stuttering. No particular political party is involved in general, but there are factions of the Green Party that we're in, promotion department and things like that, and marketing, that have those kind of skills that are helping us promote and get, radio stations and television stations to talk about it. And then other than that, it's just going to be word of mouth. But if you're standing in your front yard on July 10th, you are part of a nationwide candlelight vigil right there with me on July 10th at dark. If you're standing there with a candle, you're part of the vigil. And the purpose of it is just to inform people about Seth and what we think may have happened to him, and the DNC investigation and what we think may have happened there. And just let people know about it. All right. Hey, James. Let's see here. So thanks for coming by, guys, and I hope you enjoyed that part of the show. This is you guys' part. So now I'm getting glitchy again, Helen says. Is it? Is it unwatchable? I mean, if it's unwatchable, tell me. I don't want to do it if it's garbage. I may actually be in Facebook jail or something. So I'm just going to keep going because Helen says, are you guys getting audio at least? You guys getting audio at least? Because if not, I'll close this and do an audio one. Because those work better sometimes. I'd like to do that anyway because of my tooth. I keep trying to find a place where you can't see my busted teeth. Alright. So we can watch. She says it's okay. Marvina says keep going. Alright, so like I said, this is you guys' turn. I got one last plug to do. And damn it, I forgot what it was now. Oh, the bill in Missouri, SB 5. This is a bill that it attacks women. If you are in Missouri, please contact me on Facebook or Messenger. I'm looking to put protests together for this. I don't have anything else to do. So I'm going to start getting out there with signs, even if I got to do it by myself, about this issue. It has to be stopped. It has to be blocked, and people have to be told what it is. They named it SB 5 so you wouldn't know. So you'd be in the booth on voting day, and you go, oh, SB 5, okay, yes. Does it raise my taxes? All right, no. All right, then I'll vote yes. You don't know what it is. You don't ask questions. That's why it's named SB 5. It's not named Attack Women's Rights. So we got to get out and tell people what it is. It's a real bill. I'm serious. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Anything they want to discuss? Something about the show? Something about you? Something about your events? Something about a protest happening where you are? A protest you want to plan? A page you want to start up? I need people to start talking. I wrote 30 minutes worth of stuff to say, and I am out of stuff to say. So this is you guys' turn. If nobody wants to talk, I'm going to have to go ahead and wrap up because I swear I'm out of stuff to say. I spent 2 days writing that. So let me know if you guys got anything on your mind, because like I said, this is your part. This is your turn. I'm not even supposed to be talking this much right now. I'm supposed to be reading what you say. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Babe says it just keeps breaking up, and that's got to be why I've only got 5 people here. I've apparently crossed the line. Thank you guys so much. I will be watching this and making sure that it's still up and things like that. And answering comments, I will, throughout the night. Thank you guys.